The 2025 elections are in the books, and the issue of affordability won the day in New York City, where socialist Zohran Mamdani will become our next mayor in New York City. Cost of living was the top issue.
In New Jersey, taxes and the economy are at the top of the list. And in Virginia, the economy is #1 by far in both states. Democrats will take over the governor's mansion. But President Trump says it's not the Democrats that will turn things around. Watch it.
Energy is way down. Look at energy. We're going to have $2 gasoline. I did that. That brings everything else down. Groceries are way down other than beef. Now, beef is going to come down. The stock market's hitting record highs, like 48 times during my 9 months. And just a couple of days ago, it hit another record high, like really record high. It's great. And that equates, it's not just rich people. That's 401ks. I don't think they talk about it enough. You know, they have this new word called affordability, and they don't talk about it enough. The Democrats did. And the Democrats make it up because we took over a mess.
And that's the president last night with Bret Baier, the host of The Fixer on Fox Business, Marcus Lemonis. Marcus, great to see you.
Good morning. Good morning.
You're in touch with the everyday people. You own Bed Bath & Beyond. That's where the average American
And
goes to get everything. Camping World, too, the best, the biggest in the country. When you find out that the American people are disappointed that groceries haven't come down enough, do you think that played a role in the election? And do you agree with that assessment?
Well, I think that affordability is something we all need to acknowledge. Regardless of what party you're on, the voters are telling you that affordability is a problem. And whether it's gas prices or food prices, it's definitely on people's minds. And they voted, and they showed us this is a topic we can't ignore.
Yeah, so Marcus, square this for me, because the president said this in his Truth Social post, and it seems to be accurate. Walmart just announced that the prices for a Thanksgiving dinner is now down 25% since under sleepy, crooked Joe Biden in 2024. Affordability is a Republican stronghold. Hopefully Republicans will use this irrefutable fact. So if that's true, I mean, growing up in Texas, everybody goes to Walmart. That's the #1 retailer.
Yeah.
And then you got Amazon, of course. Why aren't people feeling it if it's down 25% what the groceries did?
Well, it may be true that the meal from Walmart is down 25%, but food prices are not down. And I don't think we should acknowledge that they are. And I think that's the one mistake that we maybe have made in the last several weeks, is not just owning it. I don't think President Trump needs to run away from the fact that prices are up. They're up. I mean, there's nothing you can say about it.
For example, I just asked the brain room this. Eggs are down. Beef is up. Bread and fruit is down, but it's just barely down. They're not down quick enough. So the president says, I'm going to turn things around when I get here. The bottom line is, Marcus, there's not a president that's ever served that could actually adjust prices in 9 months. And whatever he's going to do, pass in the big, beautiful bill, that's not even in play yet. We don't even know what the president's agenda is going to look like now that it's going to be implemented and got passed.
There's a lag effect for sure, but I think what we saw in Miami, and Miami's an interesting place to actually have the speech, right? You're at the heart of where socialism died and capitalism grew. I don't think that speech in Miami was really about the economy. I think it was a setup for a constitutional battle over this filibuster issue and getting things done, and that's really what it felt like more for me. Everybody is pointing to the tariffs being the reason that things are more expensive. Things are more expensive because in some cases businesses are exploiting that opportunity and using it. There's also taxes.
And you would know that because you import
That's
stuff.
right. There's also taxes, and you look at fuel prices being up. A lot of that comes from California and some of the nonsensical taxes. So you go to Texas and gas.
The green mania.
That's right. You go to Texas and gas is $2.39 a gallon. You go to California and it's $5.89. It's the same gas.
Marcus,
same car.
Growing up in Miami, what are they saying about Mamdani winning?
Well, I'll tell you a little funny story that most people don't know. When I got out of college in 1996, I decided that I was young and dumb, and I ran for office, State House, and I ran as a Democrat. I didn't know, didn't do my research, didn't do my diligence, and I got waxed. And I got waxed because the people of South Florida, the Cubans who came from communism, said, look, I'm just telling you right now, there's a lot of issues in the world. We don't like socialism. We hate communism. And I lost in a big way. And from that moment on, I learned that it isn't about being an immigrant or not being an immigrant. It's about, do people want to work for what they have? Are they willing to put in a good long day's work? I would say that my work ethic and my success in business has largely come from how that Cuban community came to Miami and put in 15-hour days to ensure that they never had to have their hand out.
And the thing is, they're the most successful immigrant group to come to America since the Pilgrims.
Yeah,
because doctors became roofers, whatever it took to make it. They couldn't believe how lucky they were to be here, and their success speaks for itself.
I talked to a lady, she said this is exactly what happened with Castro. He was young, he was in his early 30s, came up, took over Havana, then started taking over the whole country.
Yeah.
This lady owned 2 pieces of property, and he took one of them. He said, you can live here, but that's not fair that you have 2. Someone else only has 1.
When you look at what's going to happen in New York City, I think we need to move past the doom and gloom that the whole world's going to end.
Still, it's only been 24 hours.
I know, but I do think capitalism always wins out. And if you look at where Main Street and small business owners are going to wake up tomorrow morning and they're going to fight for their business, and we have to be comfortable with that.
Marcus, thank you so much. You're such a good friend of the show. We appreciate it.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.